which is super cool. So without further ado, I will introduce everyone in. So we got Jacob Peggs, Sam G. Winsbury, Matt Barker, Lara Acosta, and Luke Matthews. Woo. Amazing. All right, round of introductions. I'll start myself. So I'm Harry Foku. I ghostwrite for CEOs in the gaming industry. So what that means is helping them sign clients. I have a weekly podcast. You're watching it now, called The Gaming Playbook. And I've been in the BD scene for a couple years. And I live in Cyprus, and I like Crocs more than most. And the next person is Jacob Peggs. Who are you?
Somebody who doesn't like Crocs at all, Harry. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us today. I'm Jacob. I basically build six-figure businesses with folks in 3 to 4 days a week using offers, using power writing. Been sort of running Modern Maker myself, coaching program, and run a digital agency on the side. But that is me in a nutshell.
Amazing. And you're pretty much amazing apart from the Croc comment. Sam G. Winsbury.
Hey guys, Sam here. I run an agency called Kurogo. We work with CEOs to turn them into thought leaders. We've been running just over 3 years, helped probably over 200 CEOs, some of the top entrepreneurs in the UK. And I now also work with B2B businesses and consultants and basically give them the blueprint that we've used to generate 30 leads a month on LinkedIn without spamming my network with horrible sales pitches.
Fantastic. And we don't like that. Matt Barker, who are you?
Hiya. Thanks for having us, Harry. My name's Matt Barker. I spent about 10 years in marketing before quitting to become a copywriter. Since then, I've ghostwritten for mainly agency founders, and now I'm coaching agency owners, consultants, coaches to write social media content that attracts the right people for their business and doesn't require them to go viral or do any DMing, all through the magic of social copywriting.
Amazing. Where are you based, Matt?
Cyprus, but I'm in London at the moment.
Nice. Yeah, just wanted to plug Cyprus. Half of us are from Cyprus, which is the best country in the world. Lara Acosta.
Hi, I'm Lara. I'm an internet entrepreneur in the B2B space, built 2 businesses up to 6 figures, one in the personal branding space, copywriting, ghostwriting, whatever, on LinkedIn. The other one in the creator economy, building the most amazing LinkedIn cohort in the world. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I live in London.
Fantastic. And finally, Luke Matthews.
I write things on the internet and make money. And most of you know me anyway, so we can get into the Q&A.
All righty. And with that intro, amazing intro, we'll get straight into it. So format of today, everyone's brought a genuine question they have about LinkedIn to ask each other. We're going to have a bit of a round table and then a Q&A later. So we're going to just start. So first question is from Matt Barker. What is your actual, I'll let you ask the question and then give us the context as to why you asked it.
Yeah, so what is your actual writing process? I'm pretty sure all of us here at some point have written content around either how we write content ourselves for our own personal brands, or how we write it for our clients, or, either or. But when I write content, I have a kind of general process which I follow, but that tends to vary pretty much every time. So for example, this week, I was a bit split for time. My mind wasn't fully on it. So what I've done is I went back about a year ago, took a bunch of posts which done well, copy and pasted them, spun them up a bit differently, and just scheduled them ahead for the next week because I've got things going on. But next week, that might change. So I was just curious, what is everyone's actual writing process? Does it always stay the same? What's the is there like an overall process that you follow, or is it completely different every time?
All righty. Jacob, let's go with you. I'm curious. And then
Awesome.
We'll go around.
Thank you. I mean, it's pretty cool to see how everybody sort of puts things together. I think for me, it's there is an element of freestyle in a sense where when I write for emails, I have myself a story bank with various life events, and I sort of write the story, figure out a lesson, pivot, and make an offer. Let's say for LinkedIn, I would say, Matt, similarly to you, obviously there's a little more structure throughout the year where one thing that I like doing is spotting bangers, like posts that performed really well. Just like in music, when you have hits, you sort of spot the hits, repurpose them from different angles. So then you don't have to always sort of, write from scratch and sort of, systemize that process. But one thing that I love doing is having, subtopics in a way that go through a lens. So in my world, I talk about making money online. So I'm picking the topics that I want to talk about and always bring them through that lens. And then other times, because I write primarily on email, I'll take the ones that are good, that got replies, and sort of look at them from different angles to post on LinkedIn.
Alrighty. Sam, you probably written the most. Actually, I couldn't say that. I don't know. But in terms of volume of ghostwriting clients, what do you think?
I don't write for many of them anymore. I've got an amazing team that does that. But yeah, when I was writing and when I write for myself, I think the thing I never do is start from a blank page. Like, I think that's the worst possible thing you can do. So I always start with either data from like calls that we've had with potential clients where they've cited pain points or problems or goals, or we collect a lot of data in our marketing activity, to be fair. So we have like a scorecard, which like basically people can go through, ask questions on their personal brand. It gives them a score. And that's like 30 questions worth of data that I can then turn into content each week. So I'll use that. I'll use conversations with clients, or I'll just use like concepts that are already performing well on LinkedIn or Twitter or other platforms to provide inspiration. And then, basically use those as like the basis, try and apply it to my industry, my clients' pain points and problems. Always write fast and then edit afterwards. Like I don't try and edit during the content. I write fast and edit slowly. So just like basically word vomit onto the page and then focus on packaging it into something that's going to perform well afterwards.
Could you explain that scorecard briefly? Like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, it's class, to be fair. Everyone should have one. There's a tool called Score App. You can basically create a list of questions to survey your audience, and they go through. It's all like multiple choice. R1 scores them on their personal brands. So there's 3 different like parts of a personal brand that we work with our clients on. So we use those 3 parts as like the metrics for how strong your personal brand is. You complete the scorecard, and then based on your answers to the questions, you get a score. And there's an algorithm inside the scorecard that then spits out a score for you, and you get tailored advice based on your responses to the questions. So like it's really useful for people to do, but truthfully, it's a lead generation tool for us, right? If I'm pulling back the curtain, like it is. But we also, on the back end of that like platform, get all of the data on everyone's responses. So I think it's had like nearly 1,000 responses now. And we can tell things like most people want to build their personal brand to either build an audience, generate leads, or become a thought leader. So then if I'm turning that into content, those are going to be like the 3 hook points in the first couple of lines. If I want to get people to read it, it's like how to build an audience, how to monetize your personal brand, how to become a thought leader, etc.
1,000. That's so I'm just curious on this, a bit curious on this. So the scorecard,
I'll
you use that data to then write it. Yeah. If you don't mind putting it in the chat so I understand, so for people can follow. Lara Acosta. I think you know how to write a little bit. How do you write?
I forgot.
How do you write? What is your actual writing process?
Okay, so the first thing I start with is understanding that I am not like everyone else. Like there's people that focus so much on building systems and process and everything. I am the most creative brain-sided person ever. So what I do, I have a hook list. I have a proven post swipe file. I look at the 2, and then I have content pillars. A lot of people on LinkedIn and even myself, I get distracted by, oh my God, everybody's talking about the TED Talks that will change my life and the infographics and the productivity. And I want that virality. Like I have an ego and I need to satisfy it. But then I go back to my content pillars and I'm like, does this satisfy what I'm trying to build my personal brand around? No. So swipe file, hook swipe files, and then content pillars. Then I go from there. I grab my content pillar, let's say it's copywriting. I go to my swipe file. I look through content that has been proven to work. So let's say I go to Charles Miller or like Marbach and they've spoken about something. They have a really good hook. Then I write it down, and then I start from there. And then I'm like, okay, what problem did I solve for a client this week regarding copywriting? Then I look back to my like notes or like course, and then that's it. Pretty simple. Took a lot of practice though.
Lara, I think with your content, especially now versus like a year or two ago, it's like very purposely, like you have things grouped together, you have like sentence length, which is like precision point, it feels. Is there like, do you have like frameworks, or is it literally just the swipe file of posts that you've used before, which you're like taking then using, or what does that look after the hook?
That's a really good question. I just think about the framework I use is like the SLAY. So how can I tell a story, a lesson, actionable advice, and then a PS. So I always want a piece of actionable advice that usually looks like 3 to 5 bullet points in like steps. So every piece of content I aim, it has to have that, because I know that that gives my audience the dopamine hit they need to feel like they learned something. So it is a conscious effort. Thank you so much for noticing it. But not exactly a framework. Just how can I educate, then give actionable advice that's immediately applicable for someone that they can literally use right then and there. It's actually quite inspired from some of your posts, because a lot of your posts made me feel like that. Like I was like, oh, I can apply this to my hooks now. And then I left. So yeah, always use bullet points for everything.
Nice. Yeah, I think definitely when I'm working with clients, like one of the biggest things they don't do is like take out the really important information and put it into bullet points. That's just like a really easy win for someone who's writing content, I feel like.
I agree.
So you and both Luke seem to do that really well.
I did some research on this. I was looking at like all of the best performing posts, and to be honest, I looked at a lot of your guys' content as well. And I can't remember the exact stat, but it's like 97% or something of the top performing posts. 97% of the sentences in top performing posts are less than 1 line long, which is nuts. Like it was easily above 95. I can't remember, it was like 97 or 98, but that's like, it's crazy. I guess that's what you guys are doing, because I used a lot of your content when I was pulling the data on it.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I used to write short sentences like a ton, but I think as I've written more, I'm definitely writing longer sentences, which definitely doesn't work as well, I don't think. But I think from what I'm finding is it feels like if you write with short content, like short sentences, really simple language all the time, you kind of train your audience to need and want that content from you. So like you can look at someone like, there's a guy called Adam Robinson who puts out some really good content. He's like building in public, and he's like really long sentence lengths, like big chunk paragraphs, but he still breaks it up pretty well. But I think just because his audience is used to seeing that sort of content from him, it does well. But if like, for example, Lara was to like all of a sudden put out a post with big chunk paragraphs, that sort of thing, it just might not do as well, because that's not what our audience are expecting from her.
I think it's how you train your audience to consume your content, and that's also why diversifying on different platforms is important. So when you get the top of funnel people from very simple content, then you can funnel them into a course like you have, and then that's like overly explaining with more, professional in-depth language where they want that in-depth version. So I like the oversimplification. So then people are so interested in the oversimplification, oversimplification. So then they buy it instead of like, get it from your content on social media, because then that just doesn't resonate with the majority of people.
Luke Matthews.
It's always kind of different, to be honest. I don't have a specific method, Matt. Sometimes I just scroll the feed and read your content, and I get angry and I write posts. That's helped me a lot. So I do that in general. I write better when I'm angry. So I like to scroll LinkedIn because it makes me angry. And then I write stuff. If I don't do that, I do use AI prompts to get me from a blank page to something. And then I just edit heavily. That's mostly for clients. So I do use the AI stuff to kind of get something going. And then I just use my brain. So I don't really use any of the fancy kind of scraping tools or anything. A lot of it's just kind of writing off the cuff out of my brain, and then just based on being addicted to social media and being online all day and having kind of a specific client where mine in ghostwriting is all AI. So I'm writing for the same niche, it's easier for me because I consume AI all the time because I'm in AI. So it's kind of, I think I actually do use a lot of my brain in my content. I don't really model it off other people that much. So it doesn't really help anyone else because I don't really have a method other than use AI and then be good at editing and copywriting.
I think that's the main lesson, though. Like, there is no specific framework for anyone. You just kind of have to go and figure it out by yourself. Just focus on like what is your main strength. For you, it's like AI and focusing on one specific type of client, and that makes it easier for you to just churn content at the speed of light instead of like working with a variety of different niches that, it's a mess.
I think too, there's not enough feeling in content these days. It's pretty boring out there. So I think my method of whether it's scrolling or being out in life and getting inspiration from actual feelings and writing from feelings, I think people could do a lot better because we get in the science of this stuff. Everyone here makes money from LinkedIn. I think sometimes we can get caught in the science and the X's and O's, and there's no emotion in content. And I get bored. I tune out. So I think people do as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I think. Sorry, I was going to say with yours, Luke. I think when I first started writing online, I mean, you'd been writing for a year or so, maybe even 2 or 3, longer than I had. And I remember looking at your content and thinking, all right, this guy's doing it well. How can I like replicate what he's doing? And I you're the only person who I couldn't like templatize or like figure out what you're doing, because everything you wrote was so like emotionally driven, like emotionally charged. It just felt like you were just writing away, which is great. But I think like when you're trying to like scale that or do it in like larger quantities, it's obviously quite difficult, and I've definitely felt that. But
Agreed. Thank you.
There's a love between Luke and Mike. Very surprising.
There's no love. I'm just honoring a villain, sharing a compliment.
Hey, thank you. It's progress. Before we move on to the next question, I actually started writing by getting Matt's post and then just rewriting the context. That's how I started, Matt's and Lara's, which worked well as a recruiter. And then recently trying to scale that to clients. I have 5 CEOs which I write for, all different niches, but still the gaming industry, but different things. And I've started to notice the more science I go, the less they perform. But if I lead with the story and emotion, like Luke said, they perform better. So just trying to always lead with the story has been my main way. And the way I'm using AI now is more with like templates. So if I have the story, I'm like, all right, can we model it after this template, please, ChatGPT? And then I edit. I need to have the story first. That's kind of the way I'm going about it. And it's always from pain points, because we have this question coming up later, like what is a performing post? So when Sam said it's performing, is that just impressions? But if we want to like build relationships, then sometimes you might need the 3-line paragraph, is what I'm saying, where you need to go a bit deeper, like build the connection. So it might be like a measurement thing, like, okay, what are we actually measuring as a performing post? So for me, yeah, it's more pain point driven with stories. That's the way I write. Alrighty. Yes. We'll go to a rapid fire fun question, which is Luke, our resident fun person. Luke, what is your question and the context behind it?
No
worries,
forgot.
It's on the screen.
Okay. So basically, which of us would you pay for a coaching call with? And it's $1,000. So you could pick 2 of us. Some of us are cheap now.
Alrighty. Lara, who are you giving your money to?
Can you answer first?
No.
What?
I'll wait till everyone answers.
From this like group or like anyone?
From our panelists, yeah. So.
Oh.
I can go first if we want. If you want to get me out of the way and make it easier for all of you. Okay. So I would actually pay for Sam, because I think he has the biggest agency and I know him the least. So for me, it would be the most outside of like my circle. I know Jacob fairly well, Matt, Lara, all you guys. I follow your content for quite a while, whereas Sam I'm not as familiar with, and he runs a big agency. So to me, he's got to have the systems dialed in and be looking at things from a different point of view. So I think it would actually help my brain the most. So I would give him my money.
I'm actually honest.
And plus, I'm just never going to pay Matt money because obviously, why would I? He beat me to 100K. Lara, I basically give free coaching to already, and vice versa. So I can just ask whatever I want. And Jacob, I feel like I could get it for free.
Oh, so it's
we
not
just
that nice
chill,
then.
So
In the end,
you know.
Yeah,
calculated the reason.
I just thought I'd try and
you're just the
soften it.
natural last option by the sounds of it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, he's the only guy to pay. I'm just pay Sam.
Jacob's agency's bigger though, no? I'll go in. I'd probably pay Jacob because I think he's. I don't know if I thought you got an agency bigger than mine. Jacob's probably the most relevant to me. Who has the biggest audience? Who's got the most followers?
Luke is smiling a bit extra. He is Luke.
Maybe who has the most followers?
Well, is it all socials though?
That's a good
What
question.
are
Is
we
it all
talking
socials?
here?
Because
I
Lara's
can
got
scroll
like
in all
10K on
socials.
YouTube now.
Yeah, let's go all socials because my big play now is traffic and volume because everything else in the agency is like dialed in. We just need more people in our funnel. So actually traffic and volume and views actually become important to me now. So probably whoever has the highest.
I think it's Lara. Definitely Lara. She's got over 200K on all socials. So I
I'd pay a friend to avoid. So I'll stick with Jacob.
No, it's not
It's
Lara.
230K actually.
Stay with Jacob.
So, well, I think to that agency question that you had, it's always kind of fun to look at, like when we were discussing earlier about how far you can take it and what the management is and all of that. So it's really fun. But on the growth sort of side of things, I would be curious to hear, because like all of us in the room have gone down the growth ship, but I'm hearing from some people on this panel that growth doesn't really matter per se. So how much does it actually matter is something I would be curious to hear on that note.
As in like growth of followers.
Yeah.
It's coming up later, the question. Jacob, to recap, did you pick someone? Who would you give your money to?
Honestly, so it's a really hard one because where I'm at in the business has a lot to do with positioning. And I think, system scaling, all of that sort of stuff I've done. Luke sort of would tickle my toes because of this whole AI thing, but I haven't dabbled into it well enough. But I would be torn between Lara and Matt simply because sometimes, when we evolve and you need someone to look at contextually where you're at and give you a little bit of insight on your positioning from an outsider standpoint. So I would probably edge towards Matt in the sense that we have a very similar business model. So having somebody looking at it from that standpoint, you'd be able to identify where I'm at and what I'd need to position. So Matt, that win is yours.
Nice. Should I go next then?
Yeah, this is good. Like passing the baton.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that, Jacob. For me, it would be a toss up between Sam and Jacob, because you both have kind of built businesses at a further along level than I'm at, and kind of that's obviously where I'd be aiming to look at. I would probably lean towards Jacob as opposed to Sam, because my goals aren't really to build a business that has a big team and becomes a big company. So my kind of main focus is really kind of how can I get more without actually doing more, or like taking people on, that sort of thing. And I speak to Jacob quite a lot, and we chat and go back and forth. And I know that he has his systems and automations down to some kind of mad science, which I still don't understand how he maps out and figures out. So I would pay him to tell me exactly what to do and why.
Thank you. I'll take that. Bribe you with watermelons when you're back.
Yeah.
I think he bought him off. That sounded forced to
It was a
me.
bit
I don't
too
know.
good. Lovely. It's time for Lara, who was scared before, but now.
How
has
much
to
is
pick.
everyone's hourly?
I didn't do hourlies.
Oof.
Oh, the way you said that, though.
We don't discuss numbers publicly.
Wait, I have
okay?
$1,000
Not
to
like you.
spend. How do I know? Who am I spending them with, or how, like, what am I paying?
Okay, you can get multiple calls.
Everyone's charging 1,000.
Oh, I thought I
Hypothetically,
could,
now
like,
you have to pick.
half it.
1 hour, $1,000.
Except for Harry. Harry charges less. You can throw
Oh, he has
Harry
a
in, do whoever you
bonus.
pick.
I feel like I would go for Sam because I really like his studio and he launched my YouTube with me, and I think he's got really cool connections and really good vibes, and he knows a lot. And every time we speak, it's like a mastermind. So Sam for me.
And you owe him money anyways for the studio, so it's just
exchange of
vibes,
money.
given that,
Thank you, sir.
Very cool. I'm the only one who's had coaching from all of you, but Luke and Matt has been in an indirect way. Everyone else has been one-to-one. So I can reveal my answer. It's gonna be Sam, which I feel like he's had a lot of love, but for the main reason of hiring and training people, because that I think is going to be the hardest skill, and he's the only one here who's done that at scale. So my answer would be Sam.
I pass on to Lewis, who does all of that for me.
I
pass on to Lewis. No, I did.
Laura's going to cut you now, by the way. If you answer, just so you know, she's probably going to leave the stream.
I'll take some credit.
Right. Amazing. Everyone has been very helpful, to reiterate that. Lovely. Let's move on to the person.
But Sam's the most helpful.
No, I didn't say that. Maybe because you guys have helped me so much already, and I have yet to learn from Sam.
No. You can't go back anymore. You made your bet. You're gonna lie in that.
I don't know. I heard. If it came down to it,
back yourself, mate. It's the right decision.
I heard. I don't know.
Back yourself.
Slight bias there. All right, let's go to the person who's smiling and has a hat. What is your question and the context behind it, Lara Acosta?
Oh yeah. So I don't have any CRMs. I don't know what that is. I only recently learned the word about a month ago when I got asked in my community. So how do you guys manage your leads, contacts, engagement, CRMs? I heard about Folk the other day, but seems to be just a promotion thing on LinkedIn by micro influencers. So how do you guys use it?
I can start off. I think it's fairly simple. Scaling a big team in the past, like, had crazy tools. I used to be like a tool junkie where I'd spend like probably 4 to 5K a month on all this complex stuff. Nowadays, my sort of, 6-figure CRM is literally my Gmail labels. So what I do is I funnel everybody into my email list, and then I've literally got like, are you on the wait list? Are you a lead? Do you need a follow-up? And are you a client? And then sort of in contrary to your hat, Lara, I use ConvertKit to tag everyone when I need to send things out.
It's called Kit now, actually.
Oh, is it?
I'm a big fan.
Okay. Well, Kit sounds like it's got a lot of swag, actually. I like it.
So just tags on your Gmail? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I still have like a spreadsheet, but it's like, again, Google Sheets, really simple stuff. I'm talking more on the coaching side of things, but with the design agency and stuff, we use Notion primarily. But it was so eye-opening going from like a crazy big, Apollo dashboard, this, that, all the way through a simple Gmail label and a Notion board.
Cool. I like it. So everything manually as well? Nothing automated, no crazy automation system like that, no?
Well, there is automation, but like on the front end, the labeling stuff then gets triggered with Zapier and a bunch of things happen, but I don't want to get too techie with it. But essentially, it is all running through Gmail tags.
Interesting. All right. That's cool. Thank you. Oh, wait. What about Sam? King of LinkedIn, apparently, today. Hi.
We use Go High Level. I think it's called High Level, like Lead Connect or something now. Whatever they're actually called now. We use that for all our leads. Basically, like all our automation, funnels, landing pages, emails, and CRM is all inside of that. And there's a load of like automation set up so that whenever someone comes in or books a call with us, they're tagged as either an opportunity or a lead. And we have like different stages within our sales process. It attaches a valuation to them for like how much we expect they're going to be worth to the agency once they've booked in a call. has like automations that run through it as well. And then it tags the source that they came from. So like where, like if they downloaded a lead magnet, for example, we can see how many people have booked off the back of that. We're just starting to build in UTMs as well. So we can see like the original source of how someone came across it. So yeah, ours is pretty rigorous and yeah, all done in high level, which is a great tool.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard good things. I might join when I know what I'm doing next.
Like everything in one platform as well. So like we were using like Notion CRM and then like partly high level for emails and then other things for funnels, but like you can literally do the whole thing in high level now.
I like it.
I use the same.
Question: should you
it
wait to get to a certain size where you use high level? Is it like an economies of scale thing?
If you got like 2 clients and you're getting 2 leads a month, I wouldn't bother. But like I would definitely do it before you need it, because, or at least start collecting data before you need it, because you'll get to a stage where you wish you had data from the last like 6-12 months on where your leads are coming from. So like I would probably get it sooner than you think, at least just for the sake of having data. But you don't need a CRM to manage 5 leads. It's when you're getting to like 10, 20, 30 leads a month, probably that I'd recommend it.
Well, and that's lower than I thought you would need for a lead manager. So even 10, 20, 30 is worth.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Learn something new. Luke, you said it was the same. Anything to add?
Nah, Sam, I'm paying him too, so we're good.
Hey, Luke, fee for that.
Sweet.
Not today, Sam.
Mr. Barker?
Yeah, mine's kind of similar to Jacob, and to be honest, my lead flow isn't like insane. I cap however many people I work with fairly rigorously because I don't want to kind of overdo my time and capacity and that sort of thing. So it's kind of okay. I use folk because my leads tend to come from either I'll post on LinkedIn, then someone will DM, I can then just tag them on folk, and it will just keep them in. And then inside folk, I then have different sections for what offers I'm going to push them into or what I think they're right for. And then I have the kind of what stage of the conversation they're at. So I just know kind of where I'm picking up conversations with people. If I start a conversation, then the next day I pick up a new one, and so on and so on. I can see where people got to in the sales process. And kind of where they got lost, that sort of thing. So I can kind of track that. But yeah, I only really use that. And I do the same thing with email. So when I send out an email newsletter, they reply with a DM. I then just tag them in folk straight from the email and they go in. And then I can tag where they came from, email or LinkedIn, which is the only 2 lead sources I have. And yeah, that's pretty easy to manage. I only really need to use folk when I'm actually going hard on, like, if for whatever reason 2 or 3 clients dropped out and I want to fill that fairly quickly. So I'm, putting out a lot of content to get a lot of lead flow coming in. Then it can get a bit tricky to kind of keep up with conversation. So I'll only really use it then. But if I'm kind of looking to fill sort of 1 or 2 spots or that sort of thing, then it's fairly easy to just manage the conversation, just making some notes and being a good business owner.
Perfect. I've used, as a recruiter, it was a big clunky CRM, and I didn't enjoy that. Then we used Trello, which was better. And then I used Folk for a long time because I wanted to take people from text to like being on a podcast. And now I do it on Notion because I can kind of recreate what Folk has, and I can keep everyone on Notion. And the main thing for my CRM is the reminders. Notion is also cheap, but it's still a manual process. But yeah, I try to have Notion so you can like remind me, and then I can keep them there as well and actually keep track of like my clients. Oh, I've got 4 signed clients. I have one-off clients, which I can just have it very visible. So I found that when I was using Folk, I just had to go there and there's a dedicated Folk time. But with Notion, I found it a bit easier to just go, oh, I'm here. Let me check on the leads. So I use Notion.
Yeah, I used to use Notion when I first started, I think, because I just didn't actually know about what sort of CRM tools there were out there. So you can kind of build it fairly easily in Notion and link it up with like Zapier or whatever it is. But yeah, I imagine from what Sam said, you only really need a sort of high tech or kind of big CRM, when you've got like multiple lead sources, like websites, multiple channels, blah, 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 and a lot of leads coming in, like, yeah, just like Sam said.
Amazing. Lara, got your answer? Any questions?
No, I'm gonna go high level. Thank you, Sam. You're the best.
Amazing. Lovely.
Just use my affiliate.
I did tell you first. I'll take.
You know
I'll take
how
that
it takes me
coaching,
like
Sam.
3 people for me to understand something, so Sam was the cherry on top.
I know. Good
Amazing.
job, Sam.
Alrighty. Speaking of, what is your question, Sam, and the context behind it?
My question is, when do vanity metrics, quote unquote, matter? A lot of people will tell you that things like likes, comments, views, etc., followers don't matter. But I don't think anyone can, I don't know, can you disagree with the fact that having more people know who you are, like you, and trust you wouldn't be a beneficial thing for your business? Like, surely that's good. So you guys, I think most of you actually got far more followers than me. So we'd love to know when you think they matter and when they don't, or do they matter at all?
Alrighty. Spicy one. I want rapid fire for the first start, and then we can dig in if that's all right, my friends. Matt and Luke actually had a growth spurt, so I'm curious what they think, because I feel like they've been through this quite recently. Anyone can just shout.
Shall I go first, Luke? Yeah, I think
You go first, Matt.
I think they matter in a sense of, you're right, Sam. So to use myself as an example, I've got 140,000 followers now. It's at a point with my business where I don't need to send any pitch decks. I don't need to send any, I don't need to have any sales calls. I don't need to do any of that hard work up front to try and convince someone that I'm someone they should trust to work with. So in that sense, followers and your engagement show a lot of, I'll still say proof in quote unquote, because there's a lot of dark arts that go on that aren't necessarily indicative of what you actually are, that the followers and the engagement says. But it works. If someone clicks onto your page and they see you've got big following, get lots of engagement on a topic that you sell, then typically someone's just going to trust you a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's a boring answer because it's always both. For me, it matters. I sell more because of engagement, because of followers. I think it's gotten easier. The more followers I've gotten, the more engagement I've gotten. It's been easier for me to sell. Having said that, I think it's because I have my profile set up like a funnel. I use Go High Level like Sam. I have systems and lead magnets set up to convert people that come in. So I take advantage of all the traffic that I do, whether it's a ship post or not. I use it all. So I think you need to have everything optimized to take advantage of all of that. But for me, it definitely helps. I hold it in both hands though, because I think if you obsess too much over vanity metrics, you start worrying too much about what you post. You start wasting time, in my opinion, too much time writing, too much time in your content, and not enough time converting, talking to people, and building your business. I think a lot of people get it wrong. They try and go black and white. It's really just both. It matters, but you also need to disconnect as soon as you post. So you can't let it get to you. So I look at it like sports. Like you don't want to, but as soon as it goes in, you got to move on. To me, that's like a post. Every post matters. I want them all to go viral. As soon as I post, I disconnect. And I think you have to be able to do both.
Lara is thinking.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't go viral like every single day. So that for me is enough proof that it does work. So like, for example, I was at a shopping center. There's like a Lululemon at the back of the shopping center where there's no foot traffic, right? A Lululemon shop with a sportswear. Then they moved it to the front of the shop. Guess how full that shop is today? So when you're choosing likes over like yes, you need likes, because the more traffic you're getting, the more people you're getting into your funnel, the more chances you have to sell them. So you're actually just increasing your chances of being seen. Obviously, virality comes and goes in different ways. Like you can go viral for like a crying selfie, or you can go viral for the most specific case study in the world. So it's your choice how you create that virality for yourself. But in my opinion, the majority of people that say that likes aren't cash, or that you don't need them to succeed, right? You don't need them, but it does work. It's a complementary to your business and personal brand. And the bigger you grow, the more access to people you have, and the bigger funnel you get. And that's what I'm doing. So from personal experience, I think yes.
I think I'll add likes don't matter when they're fake. So keep that in mind. Likes ain't cash when you buy them, but they are cash when you don't buy them and you have a real community. So I think you have to keep that in mind. A lot of people are paying and cheating the system. Those likes don't matter because they're fake. But if you have like 1,000 real people liking and commenting and in your network, like that obviously matters. I just think a lot of people cheat the system and then they say, oh, it doesn't work. Well, because it's not real. So
Yeah, we're seeing a rise of people exchanging links, pods, etc., and that creates like fake traffic. And then when they post a post that's personal, no one cares, because that's not the audience that they're building. So it is important to think about that carefully.
like, I think anyone here could go post about like productivity for a month and they'd be averaging 1,000 likes a post. Like it's it's not that hard
Well,
on
yeah,
social media. Like it's not the
didn't-
same as like, okay, someone buys into Matt Barker's story and likes, there's 1,000 people that are into it, or Lara or Jacob or like Sam. It's different. Like if you've made it about yourself and you're getting big engagement, I feel like that's much different than, hey, I post about these generic thought leadership topics and get get high engagement. To me, that's not difficult. Like if you know social, you can hack that. It's difficult to get that many people to care about you or your story or what you're doing, and I think that's the difference with engagement.
Didn't
I
Matt
think
have like a super viral post, like 4K likes about coffee, or like going to the toilet or something?
Yeah, maybe, but that's more of a Luke one, I think. Mine was about it was like how to do 10 hours of work in 2 hours. It got like 1 million views or something, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then literally got like no email subscribers because I didn't have the right thing set up on my profile. Didn't get any leads from it because I wasn't talking about anything that's relevant to my business. So yeah, that's like a classic example of when it just doesn't matter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like on the contrary to everything, it's also like based on the business model that you have. So
Yeah,
all of us sort of touched on the social media side of it, which is amazing, and I personally fully agree that having likes does give you credibility. But depending on the model that you have, like looking back, let's say when I started the agency, we went fully outbound. I hated social media, didn't want to do any of it. And we scaled it up to multiple six figures in a 12-man team with cold email, for example. Like we have 400 people on our newsletter, and that was enough to sustain the company for 4 to 5 years before we even hit socials. But again, in the context to that was building websites. So we were using SEO and blogs and whatever, which again is impressions that convert into clients. But then again, on LinkedIn, I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all been there. Like when you don't have the numbers, you can identify how much I want to make a month. What actions do I need to do to get there? And I'm pretty sure all of us sort of got there one way or another with a very small audience at the beginning, like getting that first client or whatever it is. And then as we scale, I mean, I think, Matt, we've sort of chatted about this in the past, like building leverage as your account grows to get off of the service hamster wheel and more into like digitizing and stuff where the numbers do matter if you can convert them at mass scale.
So like for example, guys like Chris Donnelly, who runs a business as an entrepreneur. I don't know exactly what he does, but he has that business on the side. It's successful, I would assume. But I've spoken to him every now and then, and just kind of understanding what his views actually do for him. The main two things that what I learned from it was sponsorship deals and speaking gigs. So if that's like something that matters to you, then you can go viral, have like really big posts on like a certain topic, and then you become this, this figure of influence in a certain topic, and you can get those opportunities which are high leverage. But if you're the type of person I would work with, like just a 6-figure, 7-figure business owner, agency owner, you want to get more clients, you don't necessarily need to be going viral. If I have a client that I've worked with before for a year or two, and we've never gone viral, but they've managed to add about 70k a month to their business, and that's massively beneficial for them.
I had a recent story with this. So I had my first kind of semi-viral post, so 30k impressions, 300 likes for a client, so more than any of my own posts. And the post wasn't giving any value. It's literally just a story, like a story of his life. But he then got a full calendar, a paid speaking gig to come to Cyprus, which is awesome, and then a couple job interviews. And then that made me think, okay, wait a minute. This is the thing that went viral. Am I missing a trick here? But then I realized for another client, it was a 12-like post. It was a full-on case study, unbelievable, and then says, DM me. 12 likes, no comments. But then she got 5 demos booked. So you have these two extremes. And I'm starting to think you just try to optimize for both. So you have your case studies, which won't get engagement. And then you hopefully weave in those stories to get kind of people in kind of more top of funnel content. Then hopefully your emotional story is also a flex. So vanity metrics did definitely matter, but if you only did vanity metrics, then you'd also miss out on like showing the case study stuff, which I think you just do both. Like you don't rotate, you don't just stick to one.
Yep, that's why a balanced strategy is important in my opinion, because you can do all of it. You can grow your profile, you can grow your presence, you can become an expert or trusted person on a certain topic that you can then sell people on with case studies and things you've actually done for clients, all of which will get varying degrees of engagement, views, vanity metrics. Yeah.
Also,
I'll put it this way. I think it's harder to build a personal brand than sell for a standard B2B business owner. I think people get it backwards. It's actually harder to be an influencer and get people to give a shit about you. I think it's easier to write for a client and speak to a pain point and see it convert if you're a good copywriter, like Matt or Sam's seen with his team, or Jacob or Lara. I think it's actually easier to do that than to actually build like a personal brand on a social media platform that people care about. And I think people are all trying to be that person that people care about. And you just have to be honest, like, am I willing to put the time in to do that? Or do I just need to sell a business or product or a service offer and do that really well and add some spice to it? But except like, you're not going to be Lara Acosta, or Harry, because we should all just pay Harry. He's giving great advice today. Well done, Harry.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm going to cut in again, but it all depends where you want to get to. I've kind of been at a point with what I'm doing for the last however many months of like, okay, I've built this following. So do I just commit to being a creator or kind of, one of those influencer type people and just go all in on trying to go viral all the time and trying to drive loads of traffic? Or am I going to be more of a kind of, agency consultant kind of type who just posts the right content that a very specific type of person needs to see, and that is enough to drive new business? So you kind of have to, I feel like you need to have an eye on where you actually want to be in, a few years' time, where you actually want your business to get to for, vanity metrics and stuff like that to actually matter.
With the volume you have though, like you could do any of them. Like you personally, Matt, right? Like you could launch, if you wanted to, you could launch a new digital product tomorrow and probably sell it out. If you wanted to tomorrow, you could probably oversubscribe yourself with coaching clients. You could probably launch an agency, get it to a similar size to what we are, for example, within like 3 months, because you have the volume, right? I don't know if any of you saw Alex Lieberman, by the way, the Morning Brew guy, built Morning Brew, huge audience on Twitter. And then he basically built $1 million runway agency off the back of one tweet. So like, you can't read that and then say that audience doesn't matter, surely, or like followers don't matter at all. There's like, I agree. I think they do.
Damn.
Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah. I mean, my argument on that would be, did he have a setup already kind of prepared for this, or did he just put a tweet out, see if it resonated, and then build something off the back of it? Or
I think the tweet was something like, if you're a CEO and you want to spend between $3,000 and $4,000 a month on having us write, like ghostwrite your content for you, shoot me a message, and then like he just instantly built it to 83K a month. But I imagine it was a shit show behind the scenes for like a week trying to figure out all the systems and processes. But like, still, the opportunity is there.
Yeah,
and I guess
sure.
It's probably worth saying that like he built I think it sold for like 100 million. He sold like £100 million or dollar business before, so he had credibility and authority, which
that's what I would add, the credibility part, because you can do the whole Pinterest screenshot and get your 1,000 likes, and you're getting loads of traffic. But then if you say, hey, do you want to give me $4,000 a month? They're going to look at your profile. It's like, all right, what have you done? Nothing. Okay. But then this guy had all of that credibility to actually get people on a call. So I think you need the second part before you get the views. Well, I mean, it's just a better way to do things. Alrighty. Guys, oh my God, a sponsorship. Me. There's a little barcode in the top left of your screen. That's my newsletter every week, and I will recap this podcast and other podcasts. So if you scan it, a little thing will happen. So I'm going to leave that there for a bit, and we'll move on to the next question. The next question and final question before we go into Q&A is from Croc fan Jacob Peggs.
I'm not going to unmute myself. You know that now.
Sorry. From Birkenstock, Jacob Peggs.
There we go. Now I can speak freely. Thank you. So how do you stack multiple products inside one main offer? It's a really cool question. Essentially, that comes around, and again, it depends on the business model that you have. But where I've seen people go wrong, but again, there is no right or wrong. I think it's just how you want to build it. Is some people have multiple offers, like they might do copywriting, then they do coaching, then they do, consulting or whatever it is. I've found that having one main offer and monetizing proximity is much easier to go down and up the ladder. So for example, I'll use sort of what I do, which is having a one-to-one close proximity coaching and consulting offer, and then moving backwards from that to create multiple products. So maybe having one-on-one coaching you might be stacked. So moving backwards, what you want to do is create a group coaching program. And then backwards from that, you might take a resource that you've taught your client and then turn that into a digital product that you sell to your email list. So instead of stacking multiple suites of offers, look at what you can extract from what you're already doing and then create little products from that down the ladder. And then you can go up the ladder. For example, if your consulting is doing well, you could switch that into some sort of like equity or rev share or partnership. And then you're meeting people where they're at and checking for their buyer intents. I don't know if you guys sort of have a leveraged model, or is it just one offer that you do? I think Sam, primarily with you, it's like ghostwriting as one offer, right?
So we have like a full done for you offer, which is positioning strategy, like creating content, distributing content, managing full profile. We're building like PR and ads into that at the moment. So it's like, and like conversion systems as well. And that's like full end to end. That's basically the model we use, right? So we have this model of like position, amplify, convert that we use to build for personal brands. And then our offer stack within those is completely done for you model, which is probably 90% of our revenue at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We then have consulting, either one-to-one with a CEO or who's like the end client, or via a team member, like training a team member, which we're doing for a few people now. So those are the two main ones at the moment. And then we're building in an accelerator. It would be like a 12-month accelerator. I imagine it'll be a group system, basically like following a roadmap. And all of them, like we always use the same system. So we're never like doing anything different or following a different model. It's always the same model. It's just the delivery mechanism. And therefore like the time our end and the price they pay is different. It's like really scalable, because then you can essentially scale 3 businesses within one and have different models to hit different people.
Yeah, and I'm assuming like the done with you comes from doing so much done for you, and then you're picking out the things that work and you're training other people.
Yeah, and like we know what works, and like I think as you scale lead flow as well, once you get to a certain lead volume, there comes a time where by nature a lot of people aren't going to be qualified. So at the start, you might, let's say for argument's sake, you get 5 leads a month, one of them's not qualified. It wouldn't be worth creating a new offer for that. But as you scale that to 50 leads a month and 10 of them aren't qualified, they might be qualified for, rather than done for you, they might be qualified for consulting or for an accelerator. So as you scale lead flow, I think it makes far more sense to have offers for those people that aren't qualified for your main offer, rather than just not working with them. And then you grow so much quicker, and you've got 3 or more streams of revenue. If one of them drops one month, you've got the others to handle it. So
yeah, and it sort of like enables you to grab like even further down the line. Let's say you're doing the mentorship or the accelerator, there could be things you teach them that you could then swoop in to an email list and give it there for $100, give them an idea, and then upsell them backwards. But it's like recycling things that already exist instead of trying to invent little bits and pieces, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm curious on Luke, because I feel it doesn't look like you have a scalable. I'm going to stop talking. What do you think about this question?
I stopped listening, to be honest. What's the question?
The question is, how do you stack multiple products inside one main offer?
I don't know. I just sell shit, man.
Can you explain?
Go high level.
Just
go high level. You got funnels and stuff goes places, and
just pay Sam to learn how. That's all.
No, seriously, I don't know. You just have, like, I've got my AI course now. I didn't have a low ticket thing for a while, so it was mostly ghostwriting, and I just sold them in the DMs. Then I have all these people and I write about dumb shit, so I should probably convert some of them for all the time I spent. So I have a product that sells now, and then the ghostwriting. But I don't think that I do that well yet. I think I've honestly just posted and enjoyed writing for some clients, building some stuff, making money, and it was enough for me. And now we're looking at like, well, I have all this traffic and all these people that read my stuff, and I'm tired of giving them stuff for free. I just want to take all their money. So now I'm figuring out how to take all their money, and I'll have a better answer for it. I mean, I don't think I'm like the king of layering products or milking people yet. So that's my honest take. I just do it.
Okay. Lara?
I also don't know. Every time I try to scale, I want to kill myself because it's just not for me. I like focusing on one thing at the time. It's just not for me. I don't want to run a massive agency anymore. I don't want to scale to millions and millions and millions to sell. I just want to push it, make some money, have fun, and then hopefully in the next year I'll figure out how. But I'm not going to lie and pretend I am the upsell master. I have a cohort. I upsold to one-to-one calls. And then I upsold them to monthly recurring calls. That's pretty much my entire funnel. Simplification.
But that is a good funnel.
Yeah, simplification is everything for me. The moment I overcomplicate it for a bit, I include Zapier. I include more Gmail automations. I include anything. You find me running to Luke crying because I fucked it up again. And then he'll try to fix
Don't do it.
Call my calls. And then I'll go back to level 1, which is one product, one offer, one solution.
It's the previous question, though. It's like some people are going to build like systems and agencies, and some people are just meant to write words and have people read them and become a cult leader. Like there's many ways to roam to make money, and I think this is an example of it. So
wise. Matt Barker, any 2 cents to add?
Yeah. I guess so my kind of main offer is consulting business owners on their content. And within that offer, there's like different deliverables, like, they get access to certain materials, like a course to help them kind of with their writing, and kind of lessons to develop them quicker and kind of aid what I'm consulting them on. Frameworks and templates, WhatsApp access to me, as a one-to-one call, typically, as I kind of kick off with someone. So within that, there are sort of like 3 or 4 things which you can kind of package up individually and sell. So the WhatsApp side of things, I'm kind of exploring at the moment with kind of giving people access to, me to just ask kind of quick insights and kind of help them get answers to things quicker, which they wouldn't necessarily be able to do just via my LinkedIn content, because my LinkedIn DMs are a bit of a mess, and I'm not going to be dishing out advice at a deeper level to everyone that messages me, because that would completely destroy me. So yeah, that's a kind of element that I'm exploring. Obviously, there's the course within that is an individual product, so that sells, and it's also a means of turning someone from, if they've just started posting, or they've been posting for like 6 months, they take the course, it helps them solve a specific problem. Then it gets to a point where they're like, okay, well, I know kind of what I need to do now. I know the strategy, I know the process, but now I actually need someone to just make me better. So then they can come to me and say, can I get additional coaching to accelerate that? So I didn't really go through a very kind of, systematic process of, I'm going to layer my offer with these things and then offer them all individually, because I'm not as smart as Jacob. But I have kind of winged things and figured things out along the way to kind of monetize certain smaller things that I do within the main thing. So yeah, I do, but not in a very organized way.
Perfect. My 2 cents on this. I've done it a few different ways. So I do LinkedIn lead gen is the goal. So I started with Power Hour, month-long coaching, and then doing it for you. And then on top of that is like I even do the outreach for you. So that's like the ladder. But then I've stopped the coaching and the power hours pretty much to focus on the ghostwriting, and then everyone can be on the wait list. That's the way I've done it. So I've tried to connect lead gen. It's like, all right, here are the scalable ways I can help you. That's the way I do it. So just layer of just helping more problems. That is the way. Amazing. Guys, Mastermind over. Loads of love in the chat. We've had consistently 180 people, which is crazy to me. So that is very, very cool. Also, thank you for the 23 people who scanned that code. You're now going to get a newsletter. And to people who said they want the recording, go to gamingrally.net, and then you will get a nice little recap. Alrighty, we're going to move on to the Q&A section. Some people have hard finishes at 1:30, but I will at least stay for the whole hour, and we got loads of questions. Okay, so let's get going. So let me go to the question here. Alrighty. Sorry, just scrolling in. Samu, nice question. If we don't mind all answering this, because I feel like this will be very interesting, in a few words as possible, and then we can obviously give detail. So, Lara Acosta, if you were starting your journey again, how would you go about getting client 1? Samu is the one asking this
question. Okay, so I will start posting on LinkedIn consistently for at least 30 days to build my profile, expertise, show that I know what I'm talking about at least. Then within those 30 days, I'll be adding about, as many people as I can into my network with personalized connection requests, being very, very, valuable and insightful, at least there, and authentic. And then trying to acquire my first client by offering free work to them about anything. Maybe it's 30 days, maybe 60 days, maybe 3 months. And then until then, I will work my ass off to get them the best results possible, get the testimonial, and then price myself again. So how would I go about finding that first client? I would steal them from Sam, Luke, Jacob, Matt's comment sections. I will go and stalk their comment sections. I will see who's commenting, see who fits my ICP, send connection requests to all of them, because I know Matt probably wouldn't reply to all of them. Luke, maybe, Sam, Jacob. And then I'll be like, hey, you're looking for XYZ product. I am the solution and I'm happy to do it for free for you. Here's one sample that I've done already for you. So literally go ahead, do it all from scratch, from zero, without them even asking, spot a problem, give them the solution, and then they'll probably say yes.
Love it. Love it.
Can I go in there? I wouldn't do any of that. And as someone who pretty much done that to build my whole business, I wouldn't do any of that again. And the reason I say that is because recently I got, I think it was an email or a DM on Twitter, I think, from a guy who he said he basically saw that I wasn't doing any YouTube or doing any video content. And he messaged me and said, I've made this YouTube script for you. Take a look at it, read through it. If you think it looks good, I'll make a short for you. All you need to do is just open up, record. I'll do all the editing, and then you can post it and you can see what you think. I didn't go for it in the end, but that's because I just, at the moment, I don't care about doing video content. But if that was important to me at the time, I would just skip all of the posting, networking, all that sort of stuff, find someone who is not doing something that I think they should be doing, and then just DM them or email them and say, I did this for you. Do you want me to do it for you for free? And then you can pay me to do more of it if you want.
But why would
That one
anyone
I was-
pick you if they don't know who you are?
Why would they? I don't know who this guy is. I've never seen him in my life, but I was tempted to go with him because it was something that I wasn't doing, but it was on my mind. I'm just not at that position to pay for it just yet. But if you went to someone who was like in a slightly different position to me and they were ready to pay for it, they would have gone for it.
Don't you get like 10 of those? I get like 10 of those a month.
No,
My argument is
really.
like, I think you've forgotten what it's like to not have a following and not have engagement. Because if you just send cold DMs, cold outreach without a name attached to it, I think you have to send at such a scale. If you're willing to do that, but to me, I'm not willing to do that. So but I wouldn't do any of it either because I'm tired too. I wouldn't do the cold DMing. I wouldn't do the building. I wouldn't do this game at all. I'd go do YouTube and just create what I want and just be a creator probably. Because I find all this stuff exhausting. But I think my thing with you, I think you forget what it's like to have no following, nothing, and no one's gonna open your email. Because there's 10 guys, there's 500 guys sending the same, like, oh, I'll be your copywriter. Look at all the copywriters now. Like, you're Matt Barker, but there's a million of you out there that's a ghostwriter, a copywriter, then they are sending cold DMs and no one cares because they're not you, So that's my argument to you, sir.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Matt is special?
I'm saying he's forgotten who he is. He needs to go back to London. He's in London. Remember what it was like making 30 grand a year.
Besties.
I definitely haven't forgotten because for me, when I first started posting on LinkedIn, it took me about 3 or 4 months to get my first decent client. And that was still only a one-off project. And that's because I didn't know that I didn't even know that monthly retainers was a thing. I didn't know any business stuff. So for me, the reason I think that example works because I've never seen that guy's name before. I'd never seen him in my life, but I was really tempted to go with that because he'd already given me something that was really valuable and proved that he could actually help me. And it's like, well, if this guy's come into my DMs, into my emails, into my space, and he's shown me that he can do this thing, I'm just going to be like, yeah, okay, just do it.
I've been that guy, and I've also bought from that guy. Not the same one, but I do know the one you're talking about, Matt. I got the same outreach. Good outreach.
Right. Yeah, it was great. I thought it was really good. And usually with those sort of things, I just completely ignore them because it's just not interesting. But because it was something that was on my mind, I paid attention. I looked at it.
Yeah, I'm like in the same boat. I'm considering working with him. But I've hired people that have done that to me, and I've done it to other people and signed clients that have paid me 50 grand over the next year from doing it. Mine's a bit of a hybrid of what Matt and Lara said. I would basically find people that are reasonably influential within their industry, but not like celeb status. So I actually wouldn't go to I probably wouldn't go to you, Matt, because I'd look at your followers and go like, this guy's getting spammed with these all the time. I go to someone that's like slightly smaller, but still influential as my first like few goes at this. And I would record a Loom video of basically like what they're doing wrong that I can help them with, or where they're like missing an opportunity, or maybe if one of their competitors is doing something better than they are that they should be doing differently. I'd basically record a Loom and then say, like, give them the strategy, give them all the knowledge, and then basically say, if you want me to implement this for you, happy to do it for free. And then if you like it, we can chat about like working together moving forwards. Then, as Lara said, maybe do like a month or do like a 7-day free trial or whatever, and then convert them from there. And I've used that myself to convert clients. I still do it now. Like for clients that we really want to work with, I will still do it now, even at the size we are. And people will be like, oh, but like, what if people don't respond? It takes so long. Just send more. And like, if you haven't got clients, what else are you doing? Like, what else could you be doing that is more valuable than getting clients if you don't have any clients?
I want to share a recent story before we move on to the next question. So I went solo April 1st, and I got my first high ticket client within 3 weeks. And it was just having as many conversations as possible with people who could buy what I sell, which is like LinkedIn, also people who would know other people. So I used everything. I went to conferences, podcasts, e-coffees, warm outreach, everything, just to get on the calls, to have the conversations, give them something. So my version of a gift was free consulting, or it was just the kind of like, basically give all advice. And I actually got 2 kind of charity clients. I called them charity clients, but I should have changed it. But I basically coached them for free for a month in exchange for testimonial and feedback. And then I used that in then a Google Doc. So when I got my actual first client who said yes, I sent them the Google Doc, said, here's what you're going to get, and here's my previous client experience. That is essentially how I got my first client. Nice. And I also got outreached by my video editor. He sent me a message, said, hey, I do all this editing. I went to his profile, and he had just posted a video about the edit he did for Now Ratcliffe. And then Now Ratcliffe had a testimonial. I was like, all right, amazing. But now that I think about it, if he just made a good video and had it on his profile, and then he sent me the outreach, that would have also happened. So it wasn't necessarily because he had all that experience. If he just had a great video and it was a decent price, I hopped on the call, and then he edited a podcast. So cold also worked in that case.
Like you guys just have too much money and you're just too willing to spend it on random people spamming you in email.
Luke,
for those broke people, they'll pay me.
You don't have a podcast. Stop it. You don't have a podcast. Someone needs to edit. You've paid for editing.
I mean, I'll not embarrass you in front of your audience, Harry.
I appreciate it. All right. We have a random guest who somehow sneaked in. Ali Faha, you have a question?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, sorry, I'm commuting, so hopefully my voice is working correctly. Thank you so much for the amazing podcast. It's so amazing to see everyone in one place. With the rise of AI and people are getting good at writing copy, it's start to getting hard for our content to stand out. So how you see the future looks like in terms of copywriting, and what's video content in the equation? So that's my question. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to kick you out now. So let me actually rephrase that question. So with how AI is changing, what is the future of copywriting with AI? That is what I got. Jacob, you haven't spoken for a bit. Tell me.
I would sort of say that, you know, the whole copywriting is going to be dead or replaced by AI and all of that stuff in my world is something I don't believe in. There always has to be a human being. I see that at the agency as well. Like we use AI all the time for coding purposes and all of that. I think it's a matter of how you use it. Like going back to what Luke was saying earlier, was knowing how to prompt it, knowing how to like, rather than make it replace you, make it help you to quicken processes, to quicken systems, to quicken ideation. And I myself like use it for ideas, for analogies, for things. In terms of the actual execution, obviously, if you look at it from an agency standpoint where you needed 12 employees to do the work, if with the help of AI, you can get the same thing done with less, then obviously, yes, of course, that's going to affect the job market per se. But I think rather than affect it in a sense that it would get rid of all the people, it would act as a tool to, as an add-on to help people in their journey to get to places faster. Now, we've already seen the rise of AI. We've already seen what crap AI looks like, and people who use it, you can identify and see and spot them from a mile away. And then there's people like Luke, Ruben, or whoever it is that's actively promoting and trying to be at the forefront of that and teach people how to actually use it in their favor, which I think is a good way to go about it. But there will always be that debate. Like with me, as myself, I really enjoy writing, as a thing, but doesn't mean that if I enjoy it, somebody else doesn't. But it will definitely speed up processes and act as almost like a back-end system or a backbone to people who want to use it. And I've seen, like, let's say, working with financial sector people or virtual CFOs or whatever who absolutely hate writing, all of a sudden have the opportunity to unlock what was previously impossible for them or less possible with the help of AI. So it's almost like on one side opening that opportunity bucket for people to use it, but then again, the ones who misuse it will be spotted. So that's sort of my take on what I see with it.
No, I agree. It's going to be faster, but you still need that human element. I got Ali to clarify. So he mentioned actually, as people get better at writing, how do we use videos in the equation? So my bad on the recap there.
Oh,
No, this is good. So Sam has been posting more videos recently. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts with videos in the equation of content?
Yeah, I think Jacob was spot on about the writing side of things. Video, we're going pretty bullish on video. We invested in a big old studio in London to film better content and to make it accessible for creators to film content, especially in London and our clients. We're pretty bullish on it because it's huge across platforms right now, like Reels, Shorts, TikTok, like the organic reach on them can all be insane. And LinkedIn obviously testing a TikTok-like video feed. So if that's successful, which I'm predicting it will be, because people are conditioned to consume short-form vertical content on other channels, they're basically going to pump the organic views on it when it gets released to all profiles because they want to encourage people to use new features. So I think over the next 6-12 months, there's a big play for video, and then you can very easily distribute video across multiple platforms very, very easily. And harder to replicate with AI. It's possible, but AI video is a little bit further behind and much harder to do. I think you also benefit in video from it's a much richer interaction, right? You have tone, you have body language, you have facial expressions. So it's harder to produce a really high quality video than it is to produce a really high quality text post. And you can't really waffle your way through a video like you can with text content. So yeah, I think video will be huge. Short form, I've just seen a comment coming from Vicky, short form on LinkedIn, I think is going to be on the rise over the next 12 months. And it's just I guess it's just what's it called? Homeostasis that any industry goes through. It's just going to weed out the shit basically. And if you're a bad copywriter, then you should be worried with AI. If you're a good copywriter, then you're probably going to be okay. Same with video.
Question for Lara, because she's been posting some long form videos on YouTube and then repurposing some of it to LinkedIn. Just wonder, is there any lessons there rather than talking about video in general? Is there any lessons from those videos that you've made that you would share?
I feel like to start with, I need to clarify that the only reason I'm doing video on YouTube is because I've grown my audience to 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. So, and it all started because I got really good at writing, which means that I can now script my videos to a point where videos get about 2K to 5K views within the first week of posting them, which means that the copywriting that I did for last 2 years worked. The lessons for me remain the same. LinkedIn for me is not a video platform. It will never be. Twitter started trying to do this when Elon acquired it, and it's trying to become the old platform. Same with LinkedIn. It is not part of the culture, I don't think. The people that are good at video will always be good at video everywhere. So Stephen Bartlett or whoever it is that have massive amounts of video to churn out, it works because they have the it factor when it comes to video. Some of our clients that we produce video for as well, if they have the it factor, it will show and it will grow the profile. But that doesn't mean video is a winning, tool. It is part of who what your personal brand is. And for everyone that's scared or trying to go and hop onto video, you don't need it. If you're good at writing, stick to writing. That is your main source. If you're good at video and just good at yapping like me and Luke for hours, then 100% also do it. If you have access to a cool studio, do it. But I feel like there is no rush to video, and I'm only doing it because I've always wanted to do it since I was like 5. So people forget that we've had goals from the start, not just to build an agency, but I always wanted to be a YouTube influencer. So that's me.
Amazing. My video is all long form podcasts. That's the way I can actually do it and not have to worry about the edit, because then it can get clipped to the shorts. So for me, I just try to make video as easy as possible to do. And then I kind of do it as account-based marketing as well. So the podcast is a nice in. So I try to remove all the frictions from video and let it kind of pay for itself. So if I were to do it, like I have only 7,000 followers, but the reason I can afford to pay for the podcast is because it gets me clients. So rather than worrying about the views, like my most viewed video is a podcast with Lara Acosta, 600 views, probably a lot of watch time. Yes. But the benefit that got me is more authority. So rather than worrying about the impressions, it's more like, the engagement. Now I'm like, he might be a bit better than LinkedIn. And then people bring it up in conversation. So when I use video, it's more to like really show authority very quickly. Booming.
I love how you answered that. Didn't ask me or Matt about video. Are you judging us?
Both suck.
Luke,
I feel
give me your
judged.
2 cents, please.
I don't feel included. I don't feel like this is inclusive.
You are now included.
And that's too late. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm terrible on video, so I just don't bother.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I just thought I'd try and poke you a little bit.
Play to your strengths.
Good answers, everyone.
Thank you for the poke. Amazing. So we've got this. Yeah, we've got loads of questions, and we won't get into all of them in the 40 minutes, but we'll do as many as we can. So we'll do one more question here. Let me just get it from the chat. A lot of scrolling. Yeah, long form video or short form video on LinkedIn. I need 2 cents on that. I think Luke, you've done long form.
I have an answer for you. The answer is buy my AI course.
Wait, he did it. He did the shameless promo.
I was actually going to say, while we were talking about AI, I would just go and buy Luke. If you're a copywriter, go and buy Luke's course to learn how to write on AI, and then you'll be a better copywriter.
Better is questionable, but thank you, man. I'll take that. You'll learn something. You'll learn something. I'm
gonna rail on this a bit more, coming back to the whole AI thing. Sorry, we're kind of derailing a bit, but people are always going to be lazy. So they're going to pay for someone to do something for them. And typically a CEO or a business owner is not going to faff around for hours and hours on end trying to prompt and create agents for, ChatGPT. So if that's something that they do want, then maybe you could build that into your offering, that you'll build them an agent and then you'll use that to write content and they can install it into their business and their team. So it's, adapting, because people are just always going to be lazy and they're always going to be wanting the outcome, but they're not going to be prepared to do the thing to get them there.
I think I'm going to take this opportunity to mention why everyone's here, because I've given everyone here money in some way. So Luke Matthews is the Writing with AI course. So I'm going to let everyone just do a bit of a plug here. So I'll mention what I've paid and then mention what they help with now. So Lara Acosta, first person I've paid money ever on LinkedIn back in October. And I was part of cohort 1 and cohort 2. Very, very useful. Lifetime membership. Basically sussed out LinkedIn one-to-one, and the cohort style was very beneficial to me. So that's how I've benefited from Lara. And then I'll go around the table, and then we'll let people add 2 cents. Matt Barker.
Wait, I introduced you to everyone here, and I'm not your favorite.
Everyone. You introduced me to everyone. Is that true?
Well, yeah, because you joined LinkedIn and you went into my cohort, and then I had a swipe file that had all these men in it, and you were like, oh my God. And then I had a networking class, and you were like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And then you went ahead and your whole networking thing, and I am not your favorite. So yeah.
I've never said you're not my favorite. I never said that.
It's just Sam, because Sam is new and shiny, and I'm just like the first person you're
All right. I'm just going to clarify something. Sam, I picked for the coaching call because you've already helped me so much. So this is my reveal. Lara, you are my favorite.
I'm just very emotional right now. I just can't.
All right. Okay. All right. Lara, please tell us how you help people.
I don't really know. I just post memes on the internet and they make money sometimes.
Nice. Please follow Lara Acosta. That is the call to action there. Matt Barker. I've paid for the writing with the digital copywriter. Sorry, nearly got the name wrong. Really helped with the systems, going through it still. Matt Barker, how do you help people?
How do I help people? I help them write content that will attract their ideal clients, not just go viral, not just get a bunch of likes. That is a byproduct of it, but typically I help agency owners, consultants, coaches, those sorts of people, anyone with a kind of 6-figure or 7-figure business, very broad, but I help them write content that's going to make them more money by attracting more clients.
Amazing. And the call to action is to go to Matt Barker's profile because his features section is nice and organized. Amazing. Jacob Peggs. Yes.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Jacob. Also one-to-one coaching. I'm in Modern Maker. Very helpful. Literally came to a coffee shop on the Friday and we did like a 4-hour work session. So super intense one-to-one coach. I've had the entire Jacob Peggs suite at this point, most likely. So yeah, monetization on LinkedIn, very important person in my life, and came to my birthday party, as did Matt Barker. So very good friend. Jacob Peggs, how do you help people?
I make one exception to one person who wears Crocs. Harry, that has to be you. But essentially, very similarly, I help people package their offers, sell them on the interwebs through writing, through systems. And I have a program called Modern Maker. If you want to check it out, get on my list on swipemymojo.com. But yes, that is it in a nutshell.
Fantastic. And Sam G. Winsbury, I've not gone for your main offer, actually.
Best
I
to
went.
last.
He sticked it. Okay. Yeah. So Sam, I'm going to mention how I'm in your world. So has amazing lead magnets. I clicked one of them and then realized he has a school community, which isn't that public. And then that school community I joined, and then I was one of the few on the actual call and basically got one-to-one coaching. That's how overpowered it was. So yeah, super amazing school course. That's how I've had the pleasure of meeting Sam. And Sam, how do you help people?
Yeah, so that school community will teach you how to turn LinkedIn into a 6-figure sales channel over the next 6 to 12 months. And the main way I help people is by turning them into their industry's most sought after thought leader by building their personal brand online.
Fantastic. Lovely. And I'll do a very short promo for myself. If you're in the gaming industry and you sell to the people in the gaming industry, tell me the question. Tell me the question.
Who's your favorite on this panel?
Who's my favorite?
You have to answer. If you don't answer, I will never come to Cyprus.
You were never going to Cyprus anyway, though.
Yeah, that is a loaded question.
I mean, I might. I just won't visit Harry. I'll visit Matt, and we'll
It's
have a
your
great
lot.
time.
Anyone who visits Harry has a better time.
All over LinkedIn.
My app. I can't pick
I
a
think the
favorite.
audience
It's
wants
just
to know. If you want to know Harry's actual favorite, let me know, and please comment woo in the chat. Harry, I'll give you time to think and let you take over your show again.
All right. I'll be honest and say it's him. Only because I've just spent more time one-to-one. That's the simple truth.
So it's location based.
Don't know.
So this is discrimination, I would say, and this is not.
Guys, you're all good in your own
This
ways.
is LinkedIn.
I flew to London. We did a podcast together. It was a great time. Lara, you're very
Your
important
highest
to me.
viewed podcast video ever.
Highest viewed podcast. Stupid retention, like 40%. Something stupid on Spotify. Like amazing.
And I'm
Not
not your
enough, though.
favorite.
Not enough.
Because everyone here brings so much to the table.
But Jacob brings the most to the table. That's what I'm.
Thank
Everyone
you.
follow Jacob.
Thank you, guys.
And we're Crocs.
Jake- Yeah, but I wouldn't be here if it weren't for everyone here, and that is the truth. That is my
That's
piece.
awesome.
And now, because Luke interrupted my little selling myself before people say goodbye, if you're in the games industry and you sell to the games industry, I can do LinkedIn done for you and available for help on coaching and whatnot. So probably the worst pitch for myself, but essentially, if you're a CEO and you want LinkedIn done, I can get it done.
This is just
Amazing.
for the gaming industry.
Yeah, if you're in the game industry. So I'm alienating everyone else. So everyone else, go to everyone else on this call.
It was awesome. This was really cool having this little panel.
Just not Lara. Don't just
It was-
go to Jacob, not Lara. That's what Harry said.
I'll take that. I'll take that any day. I've got a scoot, but thank you so much for having us all. I think it took a Harry to bring us all together, even though we're running all these things. So kudos to you for setting this entire thing up. I think we're all busy in our own ways, but it did take a Harry Foku. So thank you.
Well done, Harry. Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely. So yeah, anyone who can stay, we are staying, and we'll do a few more Q&A. I'll be here to the end of the hour. Jacob, see you later. Goodbye.
I'll stay if the question is good.
We'll stay if the
Yeah, I
questions
can-
are good. Okay.
I can hang on for like another 10, 15, but I don't think anybody's going to bother asking me any questions anymore.
I mean, Jacob left. Why are we even here? You know?
Yeah, he's the best one.
It's not. It's guys. It's logistics. It's logistics.
You're left with the rubbish ones now.
Stop. All right. Let me bring up the chat, and I'm gonna get a question. Alrighty. Luke Matthews, is AI smart enough to write stories that feel real and interesting?
Sure. I mean, you need to edit all AI stuff. But if you're asking this, you probably just need to write more stories. So write more stories. You can use AI to do stuff, but you need to edit it. So, and I've written posts on this, so it's a boring question. Let's do the next one.
Can I add to that, or are we just going to move on?
You can if it's a rant. Go ahead and rant, Matt.
It's
Is
not
this
round.
your live or is it Harry's?
That's after hours. Now it's mine. I'm still here.
Yeah, this is still the gaming playbook, which everyone should subscribe to on YouTube and Spotify. But yeah, this is questions from the chat. And Matt Barker, of course, you can add your 2 cents, just not 20 cents.
Yeah, Luke always underplays everything and doesn't explain anything, but then will write it in a post explaining everything. So it's not smart enough to write stories that are about you. It can write any story, but it will be from its little bank of whatever knowledge you've put into it. So Luke and what he writes about will show you how to write stories that are interesting to do with you.
Very good point. And it is covered in the Writing with AI course, if I remember right.
Indeed. Thank you, Matt.
Nice. Lovely. And yeah, for people in the chat, sometimes I lose your messages. So if you have a question I haven't answered, please repeat it. Thank you very much. Geordie.
Wait, I
morning.
have a question.
Mm.
Hi, Sam, Matt, and Luke. I'm a big fan. How do you deal with shitty clients that you hate? Because we've all been, I know we had a conversation with Sam before, and all of you, I think, where we don't know what to do with shitty clients. So I think it might be quite insightful.
I would add an addendum to that question. Let's first define shitty. So,
I mean, it's quite broad, to be fair. Like, they are either not paying on time, they're being a headache, they don't like anything you write, or they're just shitty overall. And you just, maybe they were a dream client and turned into a nightmare.
Shall I go on this?
yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like
go
you've
on.
had the most.
It depends how much they pay. First of all, that's like the dark truth that most business owners won't tell you, and the circumstance of a business. If they're either paying a little or they're paying a good amount, but the business is in an extremely healthy position, then you just get rid of them. Especially if they're rude to team and whatnot, and they're just being dicks, then you just get rid of them. But business isn't always as black and white in that, and sometimes you have to put up with it because letting that client go might mean potentially letting some of your team go, or shrinking the business some way, or it might have knock-on effects in 6 months for the health of your cash flow and bank balance. So like, I'd love to say it's as black and white as just get rid of them. Sometimes it is, right? Like if you're in a position to, I'd say honestly just get rid of them, because it will clean up space for someone new to come in, and I think you should always have an abundance mentality around that. But sometimes it's not that simple, and there are other factors to consider, and you might have to put up with them for a little bit. And that's the shitty thing about running a business. Sometimes you have to do really hard stuff that you don't want to do.
How do you say goodbye to a client like that, like logistically?
Politely, always. You just have to have an honest conversation. Like you're not going to tell them that you're letting them go because they're being a dick. You just have to say that it's not working between you, and like logistically or the arrangements. Like you just have to say it to them. I wouldn't use the language of you're being a dick. I would dress it up a little bit nicer, but you just have to have the convo. Again, another hard thing that you just have to do if you want to run a business.
Got it. Lovely. Any 2 cents to be added before I get more questions? Silence is also an answer.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, know where you're at. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say I agree with Sam. There's a lot of as like someone who started their business from scratch and kind of learn as they go. There's a lot of stuff online which will, tell you to only do X thing and treat yourself with the utmost respect, and only do the thing that is perfect and shiny and ideal for you. But you do just have to do the shit sometimes and just kind of get through it and just kind of, I can't remember what the saying is now, but just get on with it basically, and then just move on and try and be better next time. Make sure the next client you get is the right client.
Thanks.
Luke, you had 2 cents?
Yeah, but I'm good. That was a good answer.
No problem. I had a recent solution where where one of my clients was taking more time than the other clients, but then I realized it was an expectation thing that I've set at the start, which I then fixed. So I feel like sometimes you might feel like you have a shitty client because relative to other clients, more work, but then you put in a good process and then it's fine. So I would first do that, see if you can improve the process. Maybe say, hey, 1 working day will be the expectation with replies. Oh, not too bad. Lovely. Lara, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I gotta go. But thanks, Harry, for organizing this with everyone. You guys are amazing. Big fan of all of you, including yourself, Harry. I will see you, Harry, then tomorrow and Saturday. I can't wait to talk to you.
Amazing.
Bye.
Goodbye, Lara.
Bye.
Everyone. Alrighty, then we'll 4.
I can do one
Fantastic.
more question.
Let's go. Okay. Loads of good questions coming in. I'm going to pick one. Sorry, 1 second. How do you figure out your offering? I feel like this is a big question that you kind of need to solve before you even do the rest. From Michelle.
I can go on this. We need a Jacob for this. Trial and error. So look, there's a level of research that you can do, but the only way you'll ever get your offering absolutely bang on first time is if you're extremely lucky. And yeah, there's a load of research that you can do to get close to it, but it will never be your final offer. And if it is your final offer, you're probably not doing enough. Like you just won't get to it first time. So when you initially build it, you've got to build it around a pain point that people have. But what I would be doing is every time you sell that, or maybe you have a sales call and you don't sell it, you need to be updating your offering based on that feedback and constantly collecting data. And by data, I mean like what prospects are saying to you on the phone or in DMs to refine your offer. And literally, I would do this every time you either make a sale or don't make a sale, and start looking at that data. And if you can build it into your offer, then like update it over time. That doesn't mean to say you should be doing like completely different things. Like you shouldn't be pivoting from copywriting to video editing just because someone said they need video editing on a call. Like your core, the thing you're ultimately like delivering stays the same, but the way you package it and frame it should be constantly improved over time.
Yep, I would agree. The thing that's helped me is I figure out what do people need. So if it's more attention, there's loads of ways to get them there. So it could be coaching them to do it themselves. It could be doing it for them. And I would lean at the start, if you've never sold anything, to do the more doing it for them, and then going down the more scalable option, because it'll be a lot easier to get one client and then get your first client for like a few hundred a month, but you do everything for them. And then you can raise your prices and go from there. So if you just starting out, I would go more down the done for you option, which is more work, and then just pick a niche. Like you either want to help people make more money, get a better relationship, or better lifestyle. And there's different ways that can go. That would be my thing about offers.
I'm leaving, boys. Nice chatting. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Luke Matthews.
So yeah.
Bye. And then there were 3.
Yes.
Wait, let me see. All right. I'll be over there. Booming.
10-2.
Alrighty.
I got another call at 3, but I got to 10-2. I need to do some prep.
No problem. It's actually kind of funny. We're having less and less people. Alrighty. How off? Okay, let me get some of these questions. Get something that we haven't answered before. I will answer that later, Dylan, because that's pretty much me. All right, we've answered some of these. Where can I slay like Lara? LinkedIn paid ads. Has anyone got any experience with paid ads?
No.
Testing at the moment. We've got quite a good framework for testing. They're expensive generally, like they're more expensive than Meta, but obviously different audience and different targeting capabilities. So I think they can actually be quite good. And if LinkedIn follows anything like the path that Facebook and Twitter have done, then organic reach is going to fall on the platform over the next like probably 3 odd years. And eventually it will probably become pay to play if you don't have an audience already. So I think they're going to become more important and probably cheaper as that happens. But for now, they are quite expensive, but we've seen good early signs. We've not spent loads, but we've seen some pretty good early signs.
Curious, can you feed it a direct list of people? Do you know?
Yes, I believe you can.
So I think that's the unique thing about LinkedIn, where
I believe so. Don't take my word on that, but I think you can. I'll check.
And George just said a comment. I think I have some experience with this. Like, if you're going to use paid ads on LinkedIn, in my head, you need a high ticket. So
yeah,
if it's a
book with them. Yeah,
it has to be high ticket. Like 1,000 a month retainer is where my head goes.
You're better off giving the book away for free as a lead magnet if you're going to do it as ads on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and then you can sell coaching or what have you.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Lovely. And do you both have any questions for each other? Now that we're all 3 of us.
Yeah, Matt, I have a question for you. What have in your like growth journey on LinkedIn, have there been like key inflection points where you've either grown like your client base or your followers rapidly, or has it been like linear the whole way, or has there been like little spikes, or is it exponential? What's the growth curve been like from say like 10,000 up to I think you said 140,000 you're on now?
Yeah, it's for me the biggest spike was between start of last year and middle of last year, so about 6-month period. I think I started posting in January 2022, got to about 40,000, I think, by the end of that year. And then from Jan 23 to I think August 23, I got to 100,000. So more than doubled that in half the time.
Yeah.
The reason for that was just, it was carousels. Carousels, but the actual content themselves was it was like very, very actionable how to copywriting content with, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, explanation, reason why you need to do it, picture, like just to show what that kind of step is, and that was it. And they would pretty much get thousands of likes every single time I posted them. And yeah, that was the biggest thing that was for the follower spikes. And interestingly, everyone's saying that carousels are kind of a bit so now, but I've been posting a couple of carousels recently, just repurposing some old posts, and they do about 5 times better than all my posts.
Really?
Typical, you know, like a typical text post or image. So they still work.
I get the same experience to second that.
Interesting. Well, that's cool.
Even my carousel to announce this event yesterday, it was just pictures of you guys, but it got 6,000 impressions, and it was a new audience. It was like, and it had a link to the event. It had all the mistakes, and I messed up and tagged you guys and edited it over. So like, it had a lot of mistakes, and it still did like 3 times like a 2K, which is my average text and image post.
It's like I was speaking to someone the other day about it, of like, you know, what kind of audience do you want to build, and what do you want them to expect from you? So if you're now kind of thinking, okay, how can I scale this CEO's following, for in your example, Sam? I'm sure you've done this loads of times, but just my perspective. What kind of audience do you want to build? Do you want to build an audience that is expecting, you know, the exact playbook on how you do something? In that case, give everything away for free. Just tell them the step by steps. Teach them everything you know, and give everything. Just show them exactly how they can do it in each and every post. If you want to build an audience which is just interested in your opinion and your point of view, then you don't necessarily need to do that. But you need to understand that the latter is not going to appeal or be as valuable to as many people as the former.
Yeah, makes sense. I hear that.
I've done this for my client. So I did a carousel. It was the exact same content as a text post. It was just like lessons learned over working at X company. And then I did the same thing on a carousel. It was like 3 times more impressions. Like, it was the same content, but still, because it was such a niche thing, like lessons learned as a big director, I feel like you just mix it in. And like what Matt said, you don't want to make it simple, because carousels take time or money, depending how you're doing it. So for me, I just try to do once or twice a month. That's my strategy.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, they're still useful. I'll ask a little quick question for Sam, if he can answer it in like 25 seconds.
Let's do it. Go on.
What's the number one thing that you're struggling with right now to grow your business?
You want me to pick one?
One thing. The one thing that's top of your mind. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I'd say attention, like traffic numbers. I said it earlier, because I think that's not the only problem we face. Like, there's loads of problems, and it looks all pretty and glamorous from the outside. Any business owner will tell you it's not on the inside. But I think all of the problems we face could be solved by, if we 10x the number of people booking into our calendars to become clients, all of those other problems could be solved downstream from that. So whilst it's not like directly the most painful, we get a lot of leads. We probably get like 30 odd leads a month currently. It doesn't seem like the most painful thing. I think we could solve all our other problems if we fix that. So yeah, more attention from qualified prospects.
Nice.
Interesting. I had so many follow-up questions, but you have to go.
DM them to me. With that, I do have to jump. DM them to me. More than happy to answer them.
Lovely. Everyone, Sam is leaving. Sam, goodbye.
Guys, thanks so much. Been a blast. Take care. Bye.
See you, mate.
Thank you. And then there were two.
No,
Hello,
two.
Matt.
Hello.
This is a question directly to you, unless you have to go.
Yeah. No. I can hang around for
This
another.
is from my brother, who you've seen sing.
I have, and I've seen him dance and sort of act.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated to do outreach at the start of your career? And I know for a fact you did a lot of it at the start.
So outreach. My version of doing a lot of outreach at the start was connecting with a lot of people on LinkedIn, commenting on a lot of different posts, and getting on a lot of kind of video calls, like coffee chats and that sort of thing, which I just totally wasn't comfortable with. I didn't actually do a lot of kind of cold outreach at all, kind of, emailing random people to get business. That just wasn't really my thing. And I wasn't really of any interest to me. I was kind of involved in the kind of posting content and getting attention, that sort of thing, enough to keep me kind of satisfied. But how to stay motivated? It was just kind of understanding that this was literally the start of the whole next 10 years. So it's like this first month or 3 is probably not going to be great, but in the context of a whole 10-year or 20 year time horizon, as people say, it's a small amount of time, and it's going to be over, and then you're going to look back and say, oh, well, that was worth it, or I don't have to do that anymore, and you can move on to the next thing. So it's just kind of long-term vision on things, I think, was the main thing for me.
Well, I have a very similar answer. You see it as the seed that's going to grow the tree that you want to make. And for me, my glorious purpose is have babies and grow them. And to have babies, I need time and money. So I know I need to do this to make the time and money to have the babies. So if I want to do my glorious purpose, I need to send this DM. And then, like you said, it's just going to be one chapter. After you get over that chapter, you don't have to do outreach. So that's how I do the motivation. Also, the pain of if you don't do it, you can't eat is also useful. If it's your only thing you have to do and you have to do it, then that fuel does hurt. Does hurt. Help.
Yeah, 100%.
Alrighty. Big question, but I'm curious what your answer is going to be on this one. I've had answers that there's no such thing as the LinkedIn algorithm. How would you say the LinkedIn algorithm works? From Hannah Wright.
I'm probably the worst person to ask out of all the people who have been on this call, because I was very involved in kind of figuring out how the algorithm works in the first sort of 6 months of growing on LinkedIn, and probably the first year or so, to be fair. But only kind of recently, over the last year, I've kind of realized if I just build my whole business off of the LinkedIn algorithm, I mean, this is obviously specific to me and what I do now, but then I need to really keep on top of everything the algorithm's doing. But if I build a business that is actually based around, the skill of copywriting, which you can apply to everything, and the kind of marketing behind that, because that's where I kind of spent 10 years working in marketing, that's a more valuable thing for people to know, and that's where you're going to get the results from ultimately. But how does the algorithm work? I don't know. It seems to change all the time. You just got to stick to doing the market research, writing content around these data points that you get. And I think Sam talked a lot about this, and he's probably doing market research at a much better,
because he's got more data, right?
Yeah, and he's probably on another level in terms of doing research and getting data points and stuff. But that's where you need to go to, and then create content around those data points. Can't be worrying about the algorithm. If you do find out a little nugget, like what we were talking about, like carousels seem to get more reach and more engagement than other types of posts, then spin something up that you would normally post and put it in a carousel and see if it gets more eyeballs. As long as it's the right content, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'd agree. And what I'd say to that, Hannah, is LinkedIn wants people to spend more time on the platform. And if a post is going to indicate that it's a good post, I think they've given like the metrics, but I just remember these three, which is if they click see more, dwell time, and then the engagement. So if you want all three of those, you need to make sure the hook is good and the picture counts as a hook. I use it for me and a lot of my clients. I think a lot of people forget your content could be amazing, but if the wrapper is shit, they're not going to open the present. So like if your picture is really like, whoa, then I'm going to see what's in there. My post today was me on a hat under a house and saying, I wonder what's under this house. And then I had people talking about that. And then the picture literally did all the work of that. So yeah, picture, hook, and then dwell time. And the only way you're going to get dwell time is kind of to Sam's point, if it's actually readable. If it looks like work to read, people will go to the PS and maybe decide to comment, but then it's low dwell time. And I think, Matt, you do this quite well because your sentences flow to the other. Even if it's not one line like Lara Acosta style, they still have flow because that will make it someone actually read it. And also you use a lot of stories. And when someone starts reading a story, they want to finish it. If it's a top 7 list and they don't really care about the topic. So yeah, to recap that, I just think about the engagement, making sure someone clicks see more. And on the engagement part, it's just having something that people would actually want to comment on. Usually that's something a bit more personal, emotional, not necessarily like tell me your life story. Like it's too much effort. Like people are, I think that's a big thing people forget is they're not coming on YouTube looking for something and then watching it and then they're literally scrolling. They're always scrolling. So like they're probably looking for a reason to leave LinkedIn. So it needs to be really like eye-catching and make you want to kind of jump on it. Oh, very personal question while I have you. Matt, what do you think about responding to all your comments? I've noticed you don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore because I have other priorities in life. I post content to nurture and potentially attract a certain type of person to my offer. Sometimes it's very intentional. Sometimes it's not. But mainly content is a way for me to just market my business. So responding to all of my comments isn't fully necessary for me right now. I appreciate everyone who does comment and shows some interest in it, but there's also a bit of a kind of, when I do scroll through the comments that I get, there's just a ton of people who are just copy and pasting things from AI. So it's like, well,
yeah,
why would I bother
like you
spending
specifically, once you hit a certain level, you start to get those. I'm only starting to get them now, but it's such a low percentage. But when I went to your comments, I'm like, yeah, if I had to mentally reply to all of these, like it wouldn't even feel authentic replying to some of them.
Yeah, and it's just a case of like, at this point in time, it's not the most important thing for me and my business and my life. For context, like I'm getting married soon. I'm traveling. I'm seeing friends, seeing family. I'm actually doing other things in my business with other problems to solve and practicing other skills and learning other things. So just spending an hour or two commenting on or every day is just not feasible. So there's a lot of people who would hire out someone to do all the commenting for them, but that's just not really my vibe. I would rather just reply to you as me or not.
Yep. And also congratulations on getting married.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Amazing.
Thanks.
And Geordie had a follow-up question. Don't you think it hurts community building? I don't mind answering that. So 100%, if you've had someone who you know in real life and they've given you a thoughtful comment and then you ignore that, that's bad in my head. But when you're at Matt's level, it's more like a YouTube comment section where you wouldn't think they're ruining their community building by not replying to all of those. So I think it's a chapter thing. If you're at the start, it's a massive ROI to reply to your comments because that person might stick around for another year. Matt Barker's ROI plus life circumstances, it makes less sense. So I don't think Matt's saying don't reply to your comments. It's just he's at this level where there's a different ROI.
Yeah, it's the different stage that you're at. You're right, Harry. It's like chapter thing. Like, I spent the first probably year and a half of posting every day and all that kind of stuff, replying to pretty much every single comment that I got. That's like a lot of hours building something, building a community, which still there's going to be people that are still hanging around, but there's also going to be people who have tailed off. Yeah, it's just when you're building something, you have to put a lot of hours into building it, and once it's built, then you can spend less hours in building it.
Well, I'm doing more of a hybrid thing now. Like I don't reply to every comment. I reply to the ones that feel human. But I know if I reply to every comment, I might get a slight 5 to 10% boost. But is that worth the mental energy? At the moment, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, Matt, I'll leave you because we're at the
Cool.
2-hour mark. Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Really appreciate you bringing everyone together and getting me on. It's been nice to chat.
No, it's been very, very good. Lovely. I will see you later, and I will stick around for a few more minutes. Chat.
Cool. All right. See you, Harry. See you later, guys.
Goodbye. Thank you. And there was just me. Hello. We still have like 80 people here, so if you're still here, say hi. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who stayed. Really, really appreciate. First big event that I've done like this. If you've liked this, follow the Gaming Playbook. It's my company page. So I'll be doing more things on there. So if you look in the chat, I've just tagged it, or it's called the Gaming Playbook. That's my little plug. But yeah, really appreciate everyone who's been here. Thank you so much. And just massive, honestly, just a massive thank you. I'm just thinking of words to say, but yeah, just thank you everyone for staying. Really enjoyed this. Had some amazing feedback. And to answer the question, did you record this? Yes. I will send it on the newsletter. So if you go to gamingrally.net, you'll get the recording and my recap of all the lessons as well. So I will do that every week. So yeah, it is recorded. Harry, important question. Favorite pair of Crocs? Ooh, I'm debating whether I should go get them. I will go get them. It might not be good for the feed, but if you're patient, I will go bring them. 1 second. 1 second. Coming back. These are the money Crocs. Blue and white, which matches my brand. So yeah, that is the best. And if anyone's tuning in now, they're like, what the hell is happening? But yeah, this is the Rainmaker Croc. Blue and white pattern. I really love it. Amazing. Could you tell me how much did it cost for Lara's cohort? At the time, it was £900, I believe. But the prices change. So I would follow her on LinkedIn or her newsletter, and then you get the new price because it's grown a lot since then. You fix the curtain. Yeah, Geordie, I've been in Lara's cohort. Very much worth it. For me, super useful. I learned very quickly, and the community vibe is what got me. And that's how I met a lot of the creators here. A lot of people don't ask questions on cohorts. So I find it super useful because I can just get one-to-one training pretty much. So yeah, I'll stick around actually and answer just questions from the chat while I have you guys here. Alrighty, so no decorated pins for them. No, I don't. I think they're tacky. Crocs aren't tacky, but Croc gibbets I avoid. I'll take them as a gift. But yeah, no, I would avoid. Devish, what's your most burning problem for you? At the moment, operations, so hiring people. So I need more people, essentially. So my business is CEO ghostwriting. So I ghostwrite for CEOs. I sort out their LinkedIn with the goal to make them more money. So I have 5 CEOs now. For me to get to 20, which I have the lead flow to do, I need more writers so I can become more of an editor. So having the ability to train and retain like good writers, that's what I'm working on now. So more writing capacity, and then upselling the more of the LinkedIn done for you when it comes to outreach. That takes more people. So yeah, burning problem for me, hiring more people. Booyah, how long have you been creating on LinkedIn? So since October last year. So I've been a recruiter for a couple years. and I was just posting jobs and podcasts I've done, but then actually taking it serious probably around September last year. And then I joined Lara's cohort, started posting almost daily, and that was very useful for me. So the creating part since October, it's around 235 posts in that amount of time, and I just hit 1 million impressions for that time frame since I've started. So yeah, since October last year. Who was my first client? Well, I can't name them because it's ghostwriting, but I got the client from doing podcasts. It was a referral from a podcast guest. So I interviewed someone, they referred me someone to speak to, they became a guest. They became a client, sorry. So yeah, can't name the person though. Got to go to a meeting, you got a new follower. Thank you, Dylan. And I will answer your question actually by DM. Happy days. But yeah, I'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone's got any questions, because I basically built my business since April 1st this year. So 3 months, closing in on 10K a month, which is nice. So if anyone's got any questions, I'll stick around for a bit. Most effective ways to monetize content on LinkedIn. For me, it's getting relationships to do a high ticket offer. So sponsorships, affiliates, all of that is the least leverage thing you can do, because you need tens of thousands of impressions to get a few of them. So for me, this is one thing I tell my clients. Posting the content, if it's just good content and then you optimize your profile, that could be plenty. So then when you send a connection request to a CEO who could use your help, they're going to see your recent posts and your profile. If they don't get converted there, which some of them do, I've had that happen to me and my clients, then over the next month or two, they're going to keep seeing your content. So it's not about how many people see you, it's like if the right people see you. So for me to monetize content, my strategy is connect with the right people proactively. So build a list. This is a big manual process, but it's the most important thing, part of the onboarding for my clients. So I build a big list, send them connection requests. So that way, when they see your content, you're speaking to their pain points, and then they want to book a call usually or apply for help. So that's how I would monetize content. So have an offer first, but then use the content to make people think that you are the solution. Booyah. Woohoo for that. Hey, I'm losing my voice a little, so I'm going to cough. Pardon me. Did you start off with a niche, or did that happen as a byproduct of creating? So I was a recruiter in the gaming industry, and I did 200 guests on podcasts since I've started. So the main thing we were doing was account-based marketing with a podcast. So this is giving people a good time on the podcast, and about 25% of those converted into clients for the recruitment business. So I had a lot of experience reaching out to people, giving them a good time, and then building relationships in the games industry. So rather than stop and switch industry, I just said, all right, now I do branding in the games industry. There's so many people that need this service. It's just if you're good and you know the industry, then I can become one of zero. Like there's no one else who can do what I do, because for them to do that, they need to have 2 years doing business development in the games industry. So I didn't pick games industry, just happened to be in it. But I think if you have a mild interest for any industry, I will double down, and then you can niche out later. Not a requirement, to be clear. Sam Winsbury, for example, they don't have a niche in the sense of like it's just a level of creator, but they don't have like a specific industry. Or Shoaib Ahmed, for example, is another ghostwriting agency on LinkedIn. He's made content about how he's never niched down. So I don't think a niche is required, but if you have one, you might as well use it, especially on LinkedIn, because you can then connect directly to the people. And then your people in the comments will be similar people, which improves engagement, because then people are like, oh, I can come to Harry for gaming content. That's the way I see it. Build a list. So Jordy has a question. So build a list of your engagers, viewers, requests, and reach out to them every once in a while. Yeah, so for me, I try to systemize this. So if someone views your profile, recently accepted a connection request, whether they've sent one or you've sent it, or they've commented, if they fit with your ICP, ideal client profile, then I would then reach out to them. I would usually just thank them for doing that action. I keep it very simple. You can be more personalized, and kind of reach out and compliment them and try to start the conversation. But if you want like the very low mental energy way, I try to just thank them for engaging, thank them for viewing my profile, thank them for kind of accepting the connection request, then ask them a question. So, curious what made you do that is a go-to, because then they've seen your profile. They're not silly. They know what you do. If your profile is optimized. So that's what I do to get them started. And then you could follow up. You could send a question mark smiley face. It's a very easy one because it's like, hey, did you want to reply? And then you can send a GIF, for example, of like John Travolta kind of looking around. So follow up is key. I could be a lot better, but I just usually thank them, compliment them. Because if they've engaged with your content, then they're not a complete stranger. So you can kind of let the profile do the talking. Usually anyway. And my pleasure, Puya. Thank you for that. And very good point, Jody. So when you niche down, your mutual connections are more, so they're more likely to think you're relevant. I've actually seen that happen in person, Jody. So I was at a gaming conference and they brought up my profile. It's like, whoa, we have 200 mutual connections. And from that day on, from that moment on, they definitely saw me in a different way, positively. So I'd agree with you. If you stay in a similar niche, then they can see, you know this, you know this, you know this. Also, when you come to name dropping clients, it's a lot easier. And again, this is in the ghostwriting world, but it works in any offer you sell. So if it's coaching of any kind, if you've coached similar people, it's going to be a lot easier to convert. So if you only do AI, like Luke Matthews, if he gets an objection, it's like, will this work for my industry? He's never going to have that objection because that's all he does. Similar for me. So agreed. Niching has a lot of benefits, but again, not required, but I would do it if you can help it. Amazing. Lovely. So any more questions, then I'll answer them, but then we could wrap up in 2 minutes. I'll use this opportunity to chat to the 50 people who are still here. Just thanks again. If you haven't already, scan in this code right here in the top of the left of the screen. That will get you my free newsletter, which on the Saturday, I will recap this entire conversation with some lessons. And I also have a podcast. It's with people in the game industry, but I also have some LinkedIn related stuff like this episode today. And I did one with Lara Acosta as well about LinkedIn. So the podcast is more leadership from the games industry and a little bit of LinkedIn to help with your career. So if you like any of that, sign up to the gaming rally and you will, of course, enjoy it. But thanks again for everyone for joining. And just really, really enjoyed this. I'll do this again. I think this worked quite well. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Jordy. So thank you, Harry. We'll be following you from now on. Have a great day. Fantastic. Ooh, Maria, how did you manage to convince these top creators to speak at your live event? Well, the trick is FOMO. Just get 2 people to say yes. And it's very easy to say 2 people to say yes if you say this is the plan. So the secret is become very good friends with 1 or 2 by giving them value. So how did I give each of these people value? I'll literally go through them. So Lara Acosta, I was very active in the community and I recorded, yes, Puya, it's my featured link for gamingrally.net, or just go to gamingrally.net. So how I convinced everyone to join this LinkedIn Live. So Lara Acosta, very detailed feedback. I referred like 2 people to her cohort. I even recorded a 10-minute loom saying this is what I think feedback as a person. And I recorded a podcast with her. So if I ask, hey, can you join a LinkedIn Live? I've already done all of this. So it's going to be a yes from Lara. Cool. We got Lara down. This is a big win. Jacob Peggs, Matt Barker, they both came to my birthday party. How did I get them to come to my birthday party? I asked Jacob to come. And Jacob's good friends with Matt Barker. And then Matt Barker said, sure, I'll come. How did I know Matt Barker and Jacob? I just sent them messages on LinkedIn. I paid for Jacob Power Hour, which was very useful for me. And then we did one-to-one coaching. So I've given everyone here money, but I've given them stuff outside of the money in the sense of like, I pay for their services, but then I've tried to go above and beyond. So, they came to my birthday, had a good time, referred them to a few things like Cyprus related. And so that's Jacob, Matt Barker, and Lara. And then we have Luke Matthews. Luke Matthews is in the cohort with Lara Acosta. Luke Matthews, to be honest, it was through Lara. So Lara recommended Luke to come. 2 hours of his time, very gracious. So by having people, who like you, they can recommend you people. And then Sam Winsbury, I just joined his one-to-one coaching. And actually, he was him the first idea. I was like, hey, Sam, I'm thinking of doing a group event. And then he said, yeah, sign me up. So I just asked him on the video call. It's like, hey, I'm going to have these creators. Do you want to join? He said, yes. So the trick was get 1 or 2 big guests and then name drop them to the other guests. And obviously, I've let everyone show how cool they are. And also, I've done this before. That's a big thing. Like, I've done round tables before. I've done probably like 50. So when you add all of that together, that's how I managed to get all the guests in. Because, yeah, I barely did any selling. So it wasn't like they're coming to promote me. And yeah. Hannah Wright, I can't call everyone my favorite. I can't. Also, I need to play hard to get a little bit. Then I get more attention. Haha. Amazing. But yeah, to Puya's point, if you can't scan the QR code, just go to gamingrally.net. And then you can put your email and you'll get it on Saturday. Amazing. Alrighty. Yeah. If any other questions, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. To Joe's point, stroke their egos. It's more just not necessarily. It's just thank them for what they genuinely help me. Like, I wouldn't have had someone on if they didn't genuinely help. Is a important thing to mention. So yeah, for sure. Amazing. All right, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much. You're all amazing, and I'm gonna go feast. So goodbye. Connect with me. Message me if you need anything. Yeah. Thank you very much. This has been the Gaming Playbook with Harry Foku. Goodbye.